Hi, how's everyone out there doing? This is Amy Hamilton, author of a couple of very serious books, The Project Manager, Life as a Project, and The Consummate Communicator. For those of you who normally watch my show, I've been working with Mel Kelly and we've been collaborating, and we're going to have a very different kind of show than most of you have probably seen before. And Mel is a fellow author. And Mel, could you please introduce yourself?
So my name is Mel Kelly from Ireland, living in Germany for many years. And I've written recently a book about dating. Well, more precisely about dating disasters in Germany. So I'm now a self-appointed dating disaster coach. And it says I have the opportunity to collaborate with Amy. She was discussing about her dating disasters. I thought, I am the expert on dating disasters. Perhaps I can help.
So I thought Mel's really limiting himself. He's Irish. He lives in Germany. I'm an American. I'm living in Virginia. And I thought dating disasters are not just limited to Germany or Ireland or America. Dating disasters, I think, are international.
And they're not just limited to me.
Yes. Oddly enough, Mel, I think dating disasters are something that happens all the time.
And even in America.
I would say especially in America. Especially to me.
Okay.
So kind of the premise of the show is we would love to get people to actually call in, or if you want to message us, you can message me on my website, amyshamilton.com, and share with me your dating disasters if you want us to feature them on the show. And Mel, how can they reach you?
How can they reach me? They can reach me on Facebook. They can reach me on my website, melkelly.ie. And we'll put that in the show notes as well afterwards. So, but yes, feel free to reach out if you want to share your dating disasters, and most importantly, get advice. We're going to give dating disaster advice. Now, remember, if you're actually looking for serious advice, don't come to us. If you're looking for how to, a humorous look, perhaps a different way of looking at your situation. But please, if you have a serious problem, don't come to us.
No, this is about disasters, right?
And this is about disasters.
For those of you who do want to date me, my profile is on Match and OkCupid. And I promise there will be no real names used, as well as everything will be obfuscated to make sure no person, and probably mostly amalgams. And I have permission from a couple of my friends. I can take some of their dating disasters and kind of make them into my own. So the goal here is not to hurt anyone's feeling. The goal is to have a good time, to have some humor. In America right now, it is Sunday morning. I'm having a cup of coffee. I felt the love cup was really appropriate today. Mel, what about you? Where are you today?
I'm in Munich. I live in Munich. It's 3:30 in Munich. And yeah, we're enjoying a bit of a heat wave here in Munich. So it's very, very nice. It's actually been fairly cold up till about a week ago. And so it's been really nice for the last week. So it's been fantastic weather. Able to wear shorts and T-shirts for the first time this year. So it's fantastic.
That's an important thing right there, Mel. Like dating advice. How do you dress on a first date?
I think it's very important that you dress appropriately. And I always found wearing shorts to a first date is a very effective way, because then I noticed... Because in that way, people think you should dress up, wear nice clothes, whatever. But really, it's better to wear shorts, because I have found that with my particularly white, hairy legs, that this is such an effective method for filtering out girls who are just after my body, because when they see my body, they don't see me a second time. So it's a great way of filtering out is when I meet a girl, does she want to meet the personality and get to know me better, or is she put off by my white hairy legs and shorts?
Mal, that is such a great point. And I used to live in Germany, which is where we met a couple times when I lived there. And the first time I met you, I was actually happily married at that time. And then the second time I met you, I was like getting divorced, right?
It was my white hairy legs did the trick, was it?
But the thing about it is I started dating in Germany. And one of my American friends said, I think that every first date, you should just take the person out to the naked people spot. And they're like, that would just be a great first date, because then you just know, do you want to date this person? So your method of dating, I mean, I I say go for it. If you live near a nudist resort, if you live near a textile fry spa, just that should be your first date.
Do you have nudist colonies in Germany? Or sorry, in the US, in Virginia?
Yes, we actually have some nudist colonies. I know that there's a few in Florida. I think Georgia. Generally in the South, I think where
do you have warm. Do you have them in the city? Like I live in Munich. We have nudist colonies in the city, actually, in certain parts of the Central Park. And I have never been brave enough actually to go on a first. I've never been brave enough to go into the nudist colony personally because I'm afraid of getting sunburned. But
with your white legs.
My white legs, and the rest of me is even whiter. So the point is, you like in Munich, there are parts of the city or parts of the parking center of the city which are designated as a nudist colony. So you could actually practice that. Do you have something similar in
I don't think
the
we
US?
have anything public. Like I used to live on a route like where whenever I crossed the river, I would be like, oh, and that's all the naked people. And that's cool. And I think it's wonderful. But here in America, I think you're aware of our history. It comes from a very prudish society, the Puritans, which is where the word is derived from. And so it was determined that nakedness not always good. So it's sort of seen as something, very kind of taboo or very titillating. It's not something common in America.
Similar to Ireland. I was shocked when I first came to Munich. They have areas on the river that goes through the city that are people bathe naked or some bathe naked. And there's, as I was saying, Central Park where people bathe naked as well. Yes. But the Irish variation, or at least my Irish variation on that, is actually wearing shorts. That's about as naked as I would get in Ireland. And on a first date,
as naked as you would get on a first date.
That's about as naked as I could even possibly imagine getting on a first date. Even if it went really, really well, that's it. The shorts have to stay on.
Okay. So that's your dating advice.
Hairy legs, and for all men out there, if you've got the hairier your legs, the better. And for any women out there, the hairier your legs, even better. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure if that one came out right, but you know what I mean anyway. Because if people are put off by your legs, well, it's a good filter. It's a good filter.
Well, I really appreciate that advice, and I'll definitely be looking for that on my future dates.
But the problem is, if you find it filters out everybody, then maybe you need to change that strategy. That's the challenge. So you just got to be careful with that one as well. This is you're filtering out the superficial people. But then it's if you realize if nobody ever wants to meet you on a second date because your legs or hairy legs or whatever, then maybe you might realize that maybe there's something wrong with your legs.
No, I think you should just stick with that one. Good points. I would like to say for my audience and my community that part of the reason that Mel said that he would coach me and help me is because
and coach you in a very professional, methodical, and effective, successful.
I had informed him when we were doing our interview about his book that I had a date, and I was describing the date. And I said, well, but I don't really want to meet this person where they want me to meet them because I'd have to drive. And there's, there's options near me. I'm very fortunate in America. Not every place has good public transit, but the area I live in, fantastic public transit. And I was like, why wouldn't my date want to meet me someplace near public transit? Because if not, I have to be sober.
Maybe he wants to kill you.
Or there's a serial killer aspect.
Maybe he wants a serial killer. Serial killers are not going to meet you in a public place.
Yes.
So that's just a thought.
Don't date serial killers. This is kind of the moral. No, I just want to say that's not bad advice. I mean, it's actually some good advice, right?
No, I'm not saying
serial killers.
I'm not saying he is a serial killer. I'm not saying that. But if your date was a serial killer, he would be less interested in meeting you in a public place. Let's put it that way.
Right, but you brought up a good point about your date should try to accommodate it so neither person has to stay sober. At least
very important. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how prudish you guys in America are, but come on. I mean, in Ireland, trying to stay sober on a first date, well, you're wasting your time. I mean, it's going to be a disaster. You don't know this person. You have to spend an hour or two getting to know them without alcohol. Jesus Christ. Like, how are they meant to put up with you? I mean, I'm not even talking about you putting up with them, but how are they meant to put up with you? So like alcohol is a very important part of the dating culture, I would say, in Ireland, and even in prudish America, perhaps, alcohol helps Not too much alcohol. That's a challenge. Not too much alcohol, but a little
And
bit
you
of
have a
alcohol.
chapter of your book dedicated to that. The right amount of alcohol.
Yeah, I have a chapter. So this book is all about my dating adventures in Germany and Ireland. But from my past, I must qualify.
To be clear, Mel
Right.
could not date in Ireland. Like, he'd exhausted the resources and had to literally move to another country.
Yeah. I mean, there's only 4.5 million people in Ireland, so I mean, it was over for me. It was over. I had exhausted that within a couple of months. It was gone. It was gone. So I had to move to Germany. 82 million people, 41 million females. So I thought, well, I have a bit to go before I get through the 41 million. So where were we there?
That's good advice. You were talking about the balance, and as an Irishman, I think it's probably different than Americans because you drink a lot as a culture. I mean, maybe not you personally. You're drinking coffee. I thought you'd have a pint.
Jesus Christ! It's Sunday afternoon. Anyway, no, the thing is, what is too much and what is too little, and I think it varies from culture to culture. Because in Ireland, I would say that the amount is a bit higher maybe than in Germany. And in Germany, people, oh, you're Irish, okay, and you've had 2 drinks, so you're definitely an alcoholic. Like, no, I only have 2 drinks. I'm only warming up, So no, but you can't say that in Germany, But so you have to. But what is the right amount? What is the right amount? And I don't know what is the right amount in America. I mean, at what stage on a first date, if you drink 1 drink, do you drink 2 drinks? Do you drink 10 drinks? Are you an alcoholic? I mean, what's the in your experience, Amy? What would you say?
I would say
if you're on a date with a guy and you meet, say, for 2 hours. How many drinks is he allowed to have?
I think about 2 drinks would be about the right amount.
And if he had 4?
In 2 hours?
Yeah.
Probably not so much.
Oh, why not?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how he comports himself. But I think most people are like, that's a lot of alcohol.
Okay.
I think that goes beyond like what's recommended for like your body to metabolize.
Is that 4? Okay. 4 in 2 hours. Okay, so 4 in 2 hours would be too much, would it?
Yeah, but say that you're.
Maybe he's nervous. He's trying to calm his nerves.
But say that you're like at a tasting.
He's met his princess. His princess, his ever after, happy ever after princess. He has just met, and he's
sober.
But
I'm not that bad, am I? I mean, it could be why I'm having dating disasters.
But the thing is, he's completely overawed with his happy ever after princess. He's nervous. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to say the wrong thing, and then he drinks 4 drinks to calm his nerves. And you're going to cut him out because of that.
I wouldn't. I mean, you're making an absolute, and I think that's a good point. Maybe next time when we talk, I want to talk a little bit more about. And Mel's giving me some great advice on this. Is
fantastic.
Developing spreadsheets to look at your dates. So we can take the project management and combine it with our dating disasters.
Exactly.
We can do like a trend analysis.
Absolutely.
And then we can track how many drinks. Oh, this is a good plan, Mel.
You need data points, and you need data points. This is also very important. So this guy had 2 drinks, and this guy had 4 drinks, and then the next guy had 6 drinks. So you can see the trends. And so the other thing you have to realize, it's not just all about the guy having the 2 4s. It might be something to do with you.
And I would agree with that. I think sometimes when I meet people and they're like, so what do you do and where do you live? And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And then I was here. And it like takes a chart to like figure out like all the countries I've lived in and all the places. And then I'm like, and then they're like,
so you're showing off. So you're showing off. Then.
No, not showing off. You just talk like people. And then
you're bragging. You're bragging about how globally and world traveled you are.
No, like I'll give you a great story on this one, Mel. So
just as I say, just one tip before you start that: don't brag to guys. Guys don't like that. We're the guys. We're the guys. We do the bragging. The women shouldn't do the bragging. My God, no. We can't handle it. We're weak, insecure, and all that. We give off this macho blah blah, but we can't handle it if the women are more successful than we are. Jesus Christ! Rule number 1.
I live in an area where everybody is successful, or everybody's like very competitive. It's a Washington D.C. area.
Okay.
And in the Washington D.C. area, I was talking to someone, and it was when I first had moved back here from Europe, and they said, "Oh yeah," so and I said, "Oh yeah, I spent last year in Vienna," and he said, oh yeah, I really like Vienna. And we started talking, and I'm like, oh, I meant like Austria, and he meant like this little city where the metro line ends at the orange line. So this is the
You
kind of miscommunications that
see,
can
and
happen.
in one fell swoop, that guy had spent 50, 20, or how many years building his ego, building his up, and in that single moment, you crushed him like that. This is a classic mistake. Women
No,
don't
no.
understand. Women don't understand how insecure us men are.
I will leave with a couple more things here, but on this is I have a little dog, and I have a couple pictures because my dog is important to me, and he's like in this little handbag, and I think it was in Milan. It could have been in Switzerland, and I just compared cities to countries, which was inappropriate, and I get that. But anyways, I've got my dog. He's in his handbag. It's on a photo. And this guy and I are talking, and we're texting back and forth. And then he said, so I noticed that you have a dog. What do you do with your dog when you travel? And I'm like, oh, my dog's been to like Milan and Paris and Berlin. And he's like, I think your dog has better travel than me. I don't think this is going to work.
You see? That's like turning up in shorts with the white hairy legs. You've done exactly the same thing there. You've crushed the male ego, and there's nothing more fragile in this world than the male ego. So,
is that a quote from your book? Because if not, it should be.
Well, it's a quote for today. You can take that one. There is nothing more fragile than the male ego.
Oh, wait, in the world. So I just want to point out, this is international dating. It does not matter where you live. And also, I just want to say I have some really wonderful neighbors. And you know, this doesn't have to be heterosexual dating either. If you want to share with us your bad, you know, dating stories in the same sex or transsexual, we are so comfortable with that because you know what? Dating is a universal. People want to feel connected. And I think right now people are starting to go out after COVID and people want to get connected again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But if there was one message for today, the fragile male ego. You gotta be so careful, girl. We spend our time pretending that we're so tough and macho and rugged and all that stuff. It's all nonsense. Any little bit of a pressure on that, it all falls apart into tiny little pieces. You know, you fall perhaps for all that bravado we put on, but that's the secret. You gotta massage that male ego. Just laugh at the silly jokes. Tell him he's brilliant. If he's world traveled, he's traveled 2 metro stops. Just tell him he's world traveled. He's a global citizen. He will be eating out of your hand. Do not be ridiculing him and telling your dog is better traveled than he has because he's been to 3 metro stations. Jesus, Amy.
Oh, wait. So my dog, though, I mean, he is well traveled and he's been on the metro. Like, he doesn't go to the metro in DC because they're not allowed, but he's like been on the subway in New York or like in all kinds of other countries and the train and Amtrak. Amtrak allows it in America, but the metro here in DC doesn't.
Why not?
I don't know. Like, and then what's really funny is in New York, they put this rule, you can only have your dog in a bag. And so people will literally have like a Great Dane with like a bag around it. Because New Yorkers, they're fun, right? Never been to New York City. Oh gosh. Mel,
I have. I've been in New York. I've been in New York. Hey. I've been in New York more times than you've been in Ireland. How many times have you been to Ireland?
I just want to say,
yeah, I've been to New York 3 times now.
I've been to Ireland once, but it's smaller. I've been to Northern Ireland once, so that should count twice because they have Ireland in the name both.
Okay, good.
And more importantly than that, I have my one of my certificates in cybersecurity from Ireland, and it says Dublin, Ireland, right on it.
Oh, Jesus, that's serious.
This seems very important. We have, we probably need to wrap up about now. What I do want to encourage is if you're watching this in the future, that's okay. Put your comments in. Let us know your dating disasters. We can give you bad advice all day long.
You get bad advice from your friends. You get bad advice from magazines. You get bad advice from television. We can do even better. We can give you the worst advice you can possibly hope for.
So if you're going to take any 3 things away from this show today, first of all, hairy legs. Can you get over it? Second of all, the male ego is fragile. And thirdly, tune in next time to listen to Mel and Amy's dating disasters. See everybody in another week.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.